tests, that means I'm not learning anymore. And I need to unlearn. I need to unlearn. And I don't hear me in any way depreciating our sins. Most of us who are pastor products, and we are good products of a good system. But the unlearning continues. Missouri Synod, as a church body, has come to a profound place of unlearning. And we're struggling with that place. That's where we're struggling. And when you call them learning communities and this whole exercise we're doing together, it's an unlearning community. And for you and me and our time together to be really comfortable in not having the answers and not needing to have the answers. I mean, even when we introduced ourselves, and no offense to any of us, but we tend to introduce ourselves from our strengths. You know, I'm this one, I'm that, I got this and that going. And that's normal for our society. America likes to be the learned community in the world. And we have most of the world coming to us to learn from us, which sort of keeps us thinking we're doing that. I did my PhD at Trinity Deerfield in International Theological Education, and my dissertation was on 30 international church leaders during their first sojourn in this country. We were sitting down with guys who speak 6 languages, one of which is English, and it's his 5th language, and he's doing PhD work in his 5th language. You begin to understand you might not have a corner on the information market, and you might be just no more than one book on the shelf, and the international community is using you well, appropriately, but you're a book on the shelf. We think we're the library. We think we're the library. And I don't mean that negatively. Please understand that's who we were. Christendom was centered in Europe. Christendom was centered. And we're products of the great missionary era, starting with William Carey, or Lutherans, I'd say a little bit before that, with the boys of Ziegenbalg and Fluchow first went to India. But the great century was about the West reaching the world for Christ. And it was built on the idea we had it, and they would receive it. And we're still somewhat in that phase when we're having to learn to unlearn and to learn from our brothers and sisters around the world, and to learn especially from the Holy Spirit. But it's a great unlearning because that was the first time we're asked to step outside of church to do the gospel. And we don't know how to do it. So we fight about the right or responsibility to step outside of church because now we don't know what to do. And we Lutherans don't like to be in that place where we don't know what to do. But if you want to be a saint and you want to be a sinner in the kingdom of God, a good Lutheran, then what does this mean often should be answered, I don't have a clue. I'm serious. That's how it ought to be answered. And if you pay attention to the scriptures, especially the New Testament, the book of Acts, the apostles get real comfortable with not knowing. They know him, but they don't quite know where he's going next. And they're okay with that. It takes some training to unlearn. It's a process, and unlearning is a good goal of a learning community. And we struggle a little bit with that. And I don't hear me when I'm just saying that's who we are and realize it. And the trouble, the difficulty, I got to go overseas where there were no steeples, no churches, and so I was radically translated, if you will, to an unchurched world. So I never could not know that. If I wanted to look at a Christian, a lot of times I looked in the mirror. But when we're still surrounded by the vestiges of church and steeples, and enough of the culture, and in our lifetime we were acculturated to be a church to people. How many remember your community in some way, shape, or form shut down on Good Friday for 12 and 3? I didn't have one. You see, if you ask your octogenarians, they'll all raise their hand. That's the world they know, and it's radically changed in their lifetime. In the process, that's tough. You're asking them to step out of their culture and their reality, where church was in charge, and all the vestiges of church being in charge was present, including your credibility as pastors.